Yes, sirrah. Safe travels.
Yes? Mm-hmm.
Apparently, some Nord women were murdered. Not sure why I should care. Welcome. Let me know if you want anything. Think I got a clean mug around here somewhere. Wait. I can hardly believe it. Aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
Good to see you, Ambarys. Perhaps you can help me.
All right. I warn you, though, there's still price on your head. You're a wanted woman.
Look, Ambarys, I don't need any trouble.
None of that matters to me. You are always welcome here. What would you like to know?
How are things around the city? How are our people getting along?
What, did you suddenly grow a conscience? Look around you. The Nords couldn't give a damn about us. Any Dunmer worth their weight in ash would tell you the same.
Yes. It is quite sad.
Wait. There's something different about you. Is this your boyfriend here? Your love, perhaps?
No. There is no one else.
Look, she died. It's okay to miss her. But when are you gonna let her go?
Don't bother. I don't want to hear it.
Suit yourself. You should be happy again, given the chance. Remember the fact that life ends and begins anew.
I don't like talking about this. Asura bless you.
Things have been a lot worse around here since Ulfric
That
took
felt
over.
nice.
It's not the cold of Skyrim that gets to me. It's the stink from the people. True story, friend. True story. Windhelm doesn't offer much in the way of companionship. It was a horrible mistake. I'll just leave it at that. She was murdered, actually. They weren't permitted to socialize. In any other circumstance, I'd agree with you. But the Nords treat us like dirt. The Nords wanted none of it. Couldn't tolerate it. So I wasn't exactly surprised. Indeed. Have you seen the poor girl? She's a mess. Trust me, I've seen my share of odd cases, and she's doing this to herself for no reason.
Maybe you can help me.
But you must be doing something right. Otherwise, if you'd betted her, and I think you did, you'd be dead. See for yourself. A few days ago, I was walking down by the docks. Heard that the coast has been dangerous lately. Tough times for the East Empire Company. I've heard there's some connection with the Pirate King. None of that matters to me. Until someone takes a Dunmer, I'll let Windhelm deal with its own problems. Well, you see where we have to live. This forgotten alley. All the filth from the upper quarters flows downhill, like they say. Good luck getting one of the guards to help with anything. I tried to get Ulfric to even come down here to see the squalor, but the High Lord of his mightiness couldn't find the time. Where else would we be? When the Red Mountain burned, you could scarcely breathe in Morrowind, so we came west. Windhelm was the first city on that road, and here we are. If we had known the Nords would be so unwelcoming,
bless you.
we may have kept
Oh
walking.
my. Thank you.
If you need another drink, I'll be... here.
Can I help you? I've almost got enough. Just need one good haul. Ain't going back to prison. Sounds good. Let's get going. Yes, Sarah? Yes, I know.
I thought the Grey Quarter would be a haven for my kind. I was wrong. Not a day goes by that I don't think about returning to the ancestral home of my people. Still, even with the rough treatment we've had at the hands of Ulfric and his lot, I've got ties here. It's probably more trouble to pack up and leave than it is to stay. Besides, Ambarys can't run the corner club on his own. Windhelm is divided into 4 quarters. The Grey Quarter is the one that's home to all the city's dark elves. If it looks to you like an impoverished slum, that's because it is. Ulfric prefers that we live in squalor. He has nothing but disdain for anyone who isn't a Nord. He tolerates us, but that's the extent of his hospitality. It was a pleasure.
All right then.
Please, leave me be. I don't want any trouble. I'm sorry. I just want to be left alone. I know, but I don't know much about the city. I'm new here, like you. Not long. I haven't found a place yet since we left Morrowind. They have beds at Candlehearth Hall, but the people aren't very friendly. But Ambarys lets me stay at the corner club. There aren't any beds, but I don't sleep much anyway. My family, they're gone. I'm sorry. It's just, it hurts to talk about it. Thank you. Feltus used to tell me the same, but for different reasons. I was always so angry with him. He was my brother, my fraternal twin, but the only thing we shared was our birthday. He was brash. He never listened. When we were children, he'd use illusion spells to steal sweets from the cupboard. When the elders forbade destruction magic, he would rush me to the neighbor's yard and set fire to the chickens. The elders blamed me. I was the responsible one. They said I was supposed to stop him, that it was my fault.
Maybe you can help me.
They were right.
A little coin always greases the wheels.
No, it's all my fault. I was supposed to look after him. I was the mature one. We had just crossed the border to Refugees' Rest. Father read the decree. Mother placed mountain flowers by the shallow grave markers. Only Feltus didn't care about graves and monuments. It was already an hour past midnight, He shouldn't have gone on ahead. He was so excited. We heard him calling through the darkness. He could see the lights from the dock, and if you squinted, you could almost see the outline of the palace. Father chased after him. Mother and I, we followed. We passed Hollyfrost Farm just as Felda started to cross the river. He hopped on a large ice floe by the bank. I thought he'd slip. Mother hollered at Feldus to be careful. He just stamped his feet. Then, it all happened so fast. The floe, it didn't crack. It didn't even make a sound. It just came straight through the ice like a ghost. It was a hand. When Feldus hit the floor, the ice broke. He fell in, and Father went in after. Mother was screaming, and I just froze. We were standing on the embankment when more of them, they came right out of the snow. I felt a hand. It was cold, so cold, and I fainted. They say my blood turned hot as fire, but all I remember was the frigidness of that hand. I woke up inside the temple. Jorah was whispering a prayer. I felt so strange, so weak. Lortham said a Nord named Brunwolf saved me when the guards did nothing, by himself. I was the only one he could save. The priest put a gold towel to my brow, and I looked up at the great statue of Talos. It almost felt like he was sneering at me. He was telling me it was my fault, my burden. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about this anymore. What is it? Just the market. Of all pities me, the meat is fresh and never cooked. I can't afford to. It has to be raw. I like the shrine, and I don't like sunsets. The sky flushes with color, and it reminds me of things. I like it. I mean, I like knowing that we're all dust in the end. It comforts me. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. It all whittles away. It's strange when certain creatures are made. I've heard their insides are turned to dust, like corpses returned to time. But their flesh, it's ageless, as if time forgot them, and I don't know which part is unreal. If I told you someone I knew was taken by a vampire, would that mean he was alive?
Maybe you can help me.
Of course.
So that means he's dead. They're all dead, even if they're alive. Yes, the growth has been so slow. They say that Vardenfell was once a place of many wonders, and far less sorrow. I know, but I cannot bear to see them alone. Perhaps you would be willing to describe them for me? Really? I'd better bring a footstool. I'd like to hear more. It sounds quite beautiful. I've heard of it. They say she looks east to Morrowind, and her visions prophesize the Red Year. A sweet roll? No, that's not true. I'm not that naive. Were they hiding or just bait? That was almost fun. To think I'd forgotten what it was like to smile. Thank you.
Back already?
As you command, my Thane.
Yes, Sirrah? Mafala Clocu.
Yes, sirrah. Mm-hmm.
I know this place looks horrible. Please, don't hold it against the company. Sad, isn't it? We can't afford to keep the place running since these attacks started. Pirates, you see. Raiding all along the coast, from Hammerfell to Vardenfell. Only the Shattershields appear safe. A very powerful family in Windhelm. They run a private shipping operation and would love to have the docks to themselves. Wouldn't surprise me if they were in league with the pirates somehow. Not yet, no. But perhaps an intrepid person such as yourself could help with that? They have a dark elf who oversees their operations, Suveris Atherin. She's meticulous to a fault, and keeps a logbook with every transaction she makes. If it were to somehow end up in my hands, I wouldn't argue. I understand. Sad it... raiding all along the coast. How very... They run a private wouldn't surprise me if they were in league. Not yet. They have a... She's meticulous. If it were to somehow end... If you get me the logbook, I'll have proof of Shattershield's treachery. Excellent. You've done us a great service. Here is your reward. I really can't thank you enough for your help. Ah, that, yes. I found records of a sellsword the company helped out of a gem 50 years ago. Yes. I'm surprised you succeeded. You're not at all what I expected. I imagined you'd be fatter, honestly. The East Empire Company will reward their friends richly. But right now we have something of a problem. Pirates, you see. But perhaps an intrepid person such as yourself could help with that? They call themselves the Bloodhawkers. They've been around as long as I can remember, but only recently focused on our ships. A dastardly group, but they're more than simple brigands. Shrewd, clever, not to be trifled with. Our own security forces are limited, and all the mercenaries are tied up in this ridiculous war. We don't even know their base of operations, and attacking single ships won't really solve the problem.
What can I do for you? Let's go.
If you get me the logbook, I'll have proof of Shattershield's treachery. How did you get it? No, never mind. I probably shouldn't know. I see. It looks like Severus has been traveling to Dawnstar to meet with a pirate crew there. Get to Dawnstar and see what you can find out about these rogues. I'd wager they won't be too far from the tavern. Try to find out where their fortress is. The captain, Stig Saltplank, has to know something.
Looking to hire a boat? Where you headed? Climb on in the boat and get comfortable.
Your ancestors wouldn't want this, Silas.
Why should I hide from it? This is my family's legacy.
It's the past. Dead oaths on dead lips. Let it stay there.
The museum is opening, Medina.
I beg you, don't go into Silas's museum. Silas comes from one of the oldest families in Dawnstar. They have a complicated history. Several of his ancestors belonged to the Mythic Dawn, the cult that almost destroyed Tamriel. His family's involvement was only found out well after the crisis had died down, but it still ruined their reputation. They were outcasts. And now Silas is back, and this museum to the Mythic Dawn is his way of trying to rebuild his family's pride. It's misguided. Not a student of history, I see. It's for the best. They're a group that should be forgotten. The only thing you need to know is that they almost destroyed the world, and they were stopped a long time ago.
And here comes my first visitor. The Museum of the Mythic Dawn is open, friend. And here you are. Good. Come in, browse the display and let's talk. I have a job you look perfect for. Let's talk inside. Feel free to look around. Come talk to me when you're ready to discuss that job I mentioned. The tapestry, those robes were worn during the Mythic Dawn's secret meetings, where they plotted to bring the Daedra Mehrunes Dagon into Tamriel. Each bolt of yarn used to make the robe was colored with a dye, made from sacrificial blood. That burned paper is all that remains of the fabled Mysterium Xarxes, the blasphemous book written by Mehrunes Dagon himself. It's said that Mankar Cameron used the book to open a portal to a paradise where all his followers would live forever. The commentaries on the Mysterium Xarxes were written by the Mythic Dawn cult leader, Mankar Cameron. He promised a paradise awaited his followers when they died, that they would be reborn by Mehrunes Dagon's side. Ah, yes. That scabbard. Notice the insignia? An Oblivion Gate. A key symbol of Mehrunes Dagon, the patron Daedra of the Mythic Dawn. Did you have any questions about the museum? Or would you rather talk business? It's no secret that my family were once members of the Mythic Dawn. One of my forefathers was even chosen to assassinate Uriel Septim himself. We hid from our past for years, became tradesmen, people of coin and influence. But I realize that the Mythic Dawn's importance, our importance, to history cannot be denied. I'll see everyone in Tamriel remember that for a moment, we held the fate of the world in our hands, for good or ill. They were worshippers of Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Lord of Destruction and Change. The Mythic Dawn killed Uriel Septim VII and his heirs, triggering the events that led to the Oblivion Crisis when the Daedra invaded Tamriel. All that remains of the infamous cult, I've gathered in my museum. Ah, an excellent question. Mehrunes Dagon is the Daedric Lord of Change, Destruction, and Ambition. Dagon's Mythic Dawn cult killed the Septim Dynasty and opened the Oblivion Gates into Tamriel. They called it the Oblivion Crisis. A little history first. After the Oblivion Crisis, a number of groups cropped up dedicated to wiping out the remnants of the Mythic Dawn. One of these groups found Mehrunes' Razor, the artifact of Dagon. They split it into 3 fragments and pledged to keep them apart forever. That was almost 150 years ago, and the pieces are still being kept by the descendants of that group, and they're right here, in Skyrim. At least 2 of the owners, Gunzel and Draskua, are dangerous marauders, and the 3rd owner, Jorgen, I only know he lives in Morthal. Here are my notes about them. I'll gladly pay you for getting the pieces any way you can. No questions asked. The Razor is Mehrunes Dagon's personal artifact. It has always heralded bloody change and carnage. It's held many names. Dagger of the Final Wounds, Bane of the Righteous, the Kingslayer. The Mythic Dawn worshipped Dagon as a god. Having his razor would be invaluable to my collection. Good luck finding the fragments.
Work twice as hard now that bat-headed leg elf has declared war.
We're at war with Leg Elf? Isn't he your husband?
No, he isn't. He's the enemy, and we are going to crush him.
Drafted into a war. How could my life get worse?
You're wrong to come here, stranger. No rest in Dawnstar. Everyone here is having nightmares. I have miners tripping over their own feet from lack of sleep. I heard there was a priest of Mara who was supposed to be looking into it. We'll see if anything comes of that. That would be Jarl Skald the Elder. He's over in the White Hall, probably talking about Ulfric like he's the second coming of Talos. I own Ironbreaker Mine. We make twice as much coin as those horkers over in Quicksilver Mine. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I pay a good wage for any iron ore you dig up, if you're looking for work. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Hi. Until next time.
Can't sleep well no matter how much drink I put in me. Got any ale or mead?
Yeah?
My miners are as dumb as rocks are gray. I'll buy everything you've dug up.
Divine sake, Skald. Who do you think we're threatening with our old war wounds? We're not soldiers anymore.
Your man Horik is wearing his old Legion armor. What should I make of that?
He's proud of his service, Skald. The Legion taught us loyalty, and we're loyal to Dawnstar.
This isn't over. I catch you sending one letter to General Tullius. I'll have you both executed.
What could it mean? The return of the Dragonborn? And who among us could possibly hold that honor and such power? I'll take my leave then.
You come to Dawnstar at a bad time. Tempers are fiery. Skald supports Ulfric's rebellion, and he doesn't like having a couple of old legionnaires living in his town. He's a fool. A dragon has attacked Helgen. Dawnstar needs the Empire now more than ever. Stay out of trouble now.
Welcome. Let me know if you want anything. Think I got a clean mug around here somewhere.
Come now, dearie. Surely we aren't all that bad.
Just leave me alone. I've brought your mead. Now drink it and shut your filthy mouths.
Oh, we've got other
I
things
envy you
to talk
travelers.
about mouths.
Dreams aren't affecting anyone not from here. Yes. Ever since my mother died a few winters ago. I play songs and help with the drinks when I have the time.
What are you looking at? Ha! Heard of them? I've been captain in a crew of them for well on 9 years now. What's it to you? Aye, the war keeps the Empire and the locals too busy to worry about us. Halden calls it our Golden Age. Our secret ingredient, if you will. A battle mage of fearsome cunning. Runs the blood horkers and makes sure the battles end right side up. Well, I can't just tell that to any skeever that washes up. From the look of you, I'm guessing you're more looking to cause some trouble for the horkers. Nah, it would be my pleasure! Come on, let's see what you're made of!
I'm staying out of this.
Who taught you to fight? Keep those hands up!
Someone do something.
Oh!
Over here!
this time.
What are you staring at?
What are you looking at? All right, then.
Ready to get going?
Well, from the look of you, I'm guessing you're more... Nah, it would be my pleasure. Come on, let's see what you're made of.
Gods, another
Huh? I knew it.
My money's on the big one. Just going to stand there and take it.
Well fought, you swinging. What are you looking at? Halden will take my hide for this, but Skyrim's been feeling a bit confining lately. We draw counsel at Japhet's Folly. The fools in Windhelm won't go near it, which is fine by us. If you'll pardon me now, my crew needs gathering. Should be in Hammerfell before the other Hawkers know who let slip their secret. All right, then.
What do you want? I don't owe you money, do I? Yeah.
Still standing here.
I plan to spend all the days I got left on the water. It's where I belong. All right, then.
Need something?
Make it quick.
What about you, stranger? What about this city speaks to you? I understand that all too well. I migrated from Solitude. Every structure there is like a mausoleum. Solitude, for lack of a better word, is suffocating. It's not just the walls and the people. It's the inside of the buildings, too. They all have the same thick, musky smell. Like the kind that you find in abandoned shacks, with boarded up windows, where the air is freckled with dust. Only in Solitude, the windows are frosted. And when the light gets filtered through them, even the sun feels cold. The name's Jaspar Gaerston. I'm a raider. Aspiring raider. I always forget that word. Funny how large the chasm is between the two. I've tried. In fact, when I was in Solitude, I wrote maybe hundreds of tales, but none worth reading. I was still maturing then, looking for my voice. I would look back on something I penned a week before, shake my head at how shallow the words were, how empty they felt. I began to doubt if I could write anything of substance, and found my solace at the bottom of a flagon. I spent my nights at the Winking Skeever, and my mornings outside his door. Even Ogtier's son found my behavior uncouth. One night, Corpulus got fed up, kicked me out into the streets, and told me to never come back. That's when I met my muse. No. Not this time. Probably never will. My muse was different. He was a warrior. An orc. He was a titan. With arms like tree trunks cut from the great forest. Only, something wasn't right about the way he looked at the tavern sign. When I asked him what was wrong, he managed to force out a word. His bottom lip quivered like a child who just dropped a sweet roll. The word he said was skeever. It was a giant, with shoulders larger than the domes of the Blue Palace. And he was absolutely terrified of rats. That night, for the first time, I wrote with purpose. There was none of the doubt or fear that marred my previous work. The words came faster than I could jot them down. For 3 days and 3 nights I continued. When I was done, I knew the work was true. It was the best manuscript I had ever written. It was the best I could ever write. About an orc who wouldn't follow. About the definition of strength and the fragile nature of the mind. About how even the bravest and boldest among us can succumb to an ordinary fear. On my way back to Solitude, I stopped by Morthal. I met a red guard there, a blacksmith. I thought, who better to give the manuscript to? When I set the book on his table, it felt like a period, an end. But maybe it was more like a comma. Maybe all I needed was to start anew. So from Morthal, I went east, not west. And here I am. All right, then.
Everyone thinks I'm too young to be a ship's captain, but I'm going to prove them wrong. By inheritance, as my men are fond of saying. Can't blame them. My mother ran the Sea Squall as strictly as she ran the house. I've been trying to find new areas of business, trying to win the sailors' respect, but I keep having problems. Take the last trade we did. Some fine cut void salts from the College of Winterhold. Plenty of coin if you know who to sell it to. Sailors are what happened to them. They got drunk and ended up losing the merchandise in some cave. If you're not afraid of a little exploring, I'll pay good gold to get those salts. Until next time.
Oh, did you need something?
What troubles you, my son? The entire town is being plagued by horrible nightmares. They're in serious danger, but I'm afraid there's little I can do about it. Turn my back on these people when their lives could be at stake? I should say not. Those dreams are not just visions. They're a footprint left by the Daedric Lord Vermina as she drains these people of their memories. I need to return to the source of the problem, to Nightcaller Temple. Perhaps you'd be willing to assist me in that regard. I've already said too much. If anyone overhears what we're saying, it could start a panic. I would simply ask that you trust me and help me end Dawnstar's nightmares. Wonderful. My Lady Mara will be quite pleased. Nightcaller Temple is only a short walk from Dawnstar. Come, we must hurry. Vermina resides in a strange realm known as Quagmire, a nightmarish land where reality shifts upon itself in seemingly impossible ways. From her citadel at the center, she reaches forth to collect our memories, leaving nothing in return apart from visions of horror and despair. Who can say? Perhaps she collects them for display like works of art in a nonsensical art gallery. Whatever the case may be, her intentions are far from benevolent. I promise to answer all of your questions. Follow me. Huh? Follow me. It's this way. It feels good to finally have a chance to help these people. Helplessly watching them suffer has been difficult. The tower on that hill is our destination. People around here call it the Tower of the Dawn. I'm not familiar with the tower's history, but it was deserted for quite a long time before Nightcaller Temple was established inside. When the temple was active, the priests would rarely be seen in Dawnstar. They preferred to live a solitary existence. The temple's been abandoned for decades now. Ironic, isn't it? A ruin within a ruin. There's a small shrine to Mara I established inside the tower's entry hall. I was hoping to seek spiritual guidance from her. Perhaps my prayers were answered, and your reason for stumbling across Dawnstar is more than a mere coincidence.